What is going on, guys? Back with another episode of the Baseball Prospect Card Podcast. I hope everyone's been enjoying their first week of highlights of spring training because, I have watching all the guys. I'm getting ready to watch all this season. But today's video, we're going to be talking about, of course, we have to talk about one of my favorite Orioles prospects and more of an underrated guy. It's going to be Enrique Bradfield Jr., center fielder, probably one of my more underrated prospects that's in the top 100. That's, of course, probably a little bit of bias of me because I am an O's fan. He's an O's prospect. But this is one of these guys that's not going to be kind of like the rest of who I've talked about so far. Not a big power guy by any means, not even close. This is going to be a rangy, speedy, base stealing outfielder, left-handed bat. So we'll get right into some of his base stats throughout this season. He played he's already played 2 seasons in the minors already. His 2023 season, he played rookie ball. He played at some of A ball and A+ ball with only a little bit over 70 ABs. But what's more important to me is his 2024 campaign, where he played in 81 games between high A and then 27 once he got promoted to Bowie. His 2024 start to the season at Aberdeen, which is the high A team, 81 games, 303 ABs. He had 110 total bases, 12 doubles, 3 triples, 3 home runs, and he had 35 walks out of those 303 ABs, coming out to about a 267 average. Really low OPS, about 708. On base percentage was a 345, which is really good, especially for a guy that's gonna be getting on base via singles and walks and the occasional legging out triples and then some doubles as well. He's not going to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He doesn't have that kind of approach. That's not going to be his approach. Although once he gets to the major league team, they might try to adjust some swings and techniques and try to get him into that. My guess would be that 10 to 15 home run would be like his tops. I don't see him hitting any more than that, especially getting to the major league level, which I do think he will this year. I do see him as Cedric Mullins' replacement. Orioles need to get younger at that position, and he's the ideal replacement. He's kind of like Seti, but a lot less power, but he's faster, and he's a better defender and has a way better arm out in the outfield. Once he got to Bowie, he only had about 101 ABs, totaling 40 bases with only 15 walks and 15 stolen bases. Oh, and I didn't mention his high A ball. He did have 59 stolen bases. In the total for the year, he had 74, and he only got caught stealing 13 times out of all those attempts. But what's even more impressive with all that, considering he only struck out 72 times in 404 ABs, which is phenomenal. Really good average there. So I'm really looking forward to seeing, the next step, which is him getting promoted at some time this year. And I don't think he makes it this year unless it's a late September call-up, because the Orioles will have to move on from either Ramon Laureano or Heston Kjerstad or Cedric Mullins to make room for him on the roster. Orioles are one of these teams that has a ton of outfielders, especially on the major league team right now. And also they have a plethora of guys also, banging down the door at other positions in the outfield. I see him specifically playing everyday center field, but he also plays a lot of left. That's where he's primarily played in the minors. And he only played about 4 games in right, so he'll probably just stick at center. He's rangy, he's fast, he can get to practically any ball. We're talking a guy at his college career. He broke the Vanderbilt record which he had 130 steals in only 191 games. I mean, this kid's speed's off the chart, 80 grade speed. I mean, in spring training, he reached a sprint speed of 30 feet a second. I mean, this kid's unreal. And his pro debut, which if we do want to talk about that, which I think is going to be important too, along with that, in his pro debut, he only had his first full season. He had a 2% whiff rate and walked a quarter of the time. I mean, this kid's phenomenal. I'm super excited. Scouts are saying, he could be at the top base stealer in the MLB here in the next couple of years. Another Ricky Henderson type, someone that might compete with Ellie De La Cruz for the stolen base title. I'm super stoked. He's a really exciting player. I know we talk about everyone prospect when they're card prospecting. Everyone loves power, but he's one of these guys. A few of these guys, especially that a lot of people think that have that 70 to 80 stolen base potential. It's a different it's a different game of baseball, and people actually really like watching these guys that are able to get a single on a base, and it's practically a double when they can steal 90% of the time. I mean, it's a different game of baseball. It changes how teams are going to play, and they're going to different ways how teams are going to approach these guys at the major league level. Of course, he probably will need to add a little bit more power to add a little bit more flexibility, but I don't think he'll need to change his game a whole lot. I mean, defense, I see him as a Gold Glover. This is going to be your everyday center fielder for the O's for hopefully 10 years. That's fingers crossed. I'm super excited to see what he's going to do. Get into some of his card pricing now. So his base chrome autos are selling right now anywhere from that 15 to 25-ish range, just the base. There's a ton of other colors up, of course. I specifically don't have any autos myself. I actually just sold his Papardasho PSA 10 1 of 1 the other day, or probably about a few weeks ago. I actually bought it this is another key is I actually bought that card I think about a month before they announced the non-roster invitees. He got this spring training invite. I bought it for $765. I sold it about a month later for $1,500. Quick flip. It's one of those rare things. It's like you buy it out, a month away from spring training, and everyone's like, oh, he has a chance to make this major league roster. And quick flip. It's one of those things. It's especially rumblings throughout the season. We're going to hear a lot about this kid because he probably will start at AA because he already did get about 100 ABs last year. So he'll probably get another 200, and then he'll probably get the call to AAA mid-June, mid-July would be my guess, depending on how he starts the year. I do expect him to just get right into it, but we'll have to see how he starts spring training. See if he starts hot, see if he starts cold, we'll see. It's one of those things we'll have to keep an eye out for, especially with Enrique. I'll be excited, really excited. He's a little bit of an older guy already. He's already 23, just turned 23 in December. Still has plenty of time though. But we'll see what happens with him. So get back into some of his card pricing. I think the longevity play would be the autos, of course, especially if you're looking to hold long term. I think what's going to keep his value up is going to be his awards that he could win. Obviously, Gold Gloves. What he's going to do with the team postseason time once he is on the roster and sticks, especially with a lot of Orioles scouts and a lot of MLB scouts think he's going to be the everyday center fielder for the O's next year. But I do see him potentially getting the call this year, late in the year, of course, obviously, barring any injuries or setbacks through spring training or through the first couple months of the year. You can find refractor autographs up for $60-$70. Ungraded, of course. Obviously, you could probably get better deals. I'm looking to try to pick up an auto or two before minor league season begins, just to have a few, get them graded, and kind of hold on to them and wait to see what happens with him. You can find sales depending on what you're looking for. My call would probably be the Chrome autos, whether it's raw or graded, doesn't matter. He's actually not too expensive for base Chrome autos. You can find them raw anywhere from about 15 to a 25 range. Isn't too bad, especially with a very loaded 2023 Bowman draft class. I mean, it's one of the most stacked Bowman classes in recent memory. Way more stacked, in my opinion, than this recent class. I mean, you got guys, a ton of guys who are already in the majors. You got Wyatt, you got Paul. Obviously, that's not what we're talking about today, but I mean, that's a freaking loaded class. Enrique is like one of those guys, like people put in like that mid tier of that 23 Bowman draft class in terms of cards, of course. Although I think differently. That's bias of me, of course. But he is one of these guys I think is going to absolutely blow up the card world once he gets the call. I think he's going to just be a spectacular defender for us. He's just going to follow suit in Seti's footsteps would be my hope and dream. And turns out to be a better player, of course, as much as I love Seti. I do see him being the long-term replacement there, of course. But yeah, no, in my opinion, the longevity play, the Chrome autos, that $20 range is honestly perfect for his cards. I think he has a good chance. My guess would be this end of the year when he does get the call, I would sell then and maybe buy back later, depending on how he starts his MLB career. But I appreciate you guys tuning in on another episode of the Baseball Prospect Podcast. Please feel free to drop some comments down below of who you want to see next. I know I was a little bit late on this video. I actually got into an accident a couple days ago and still a little bit stunned about that. So kind of stuck at home and I was like, all right, well, let's get another video out. You know, I'm just sitting at home, just watching all these spring training videos from all these teams. And I was kind of gathering some ideas of who I wanted to talk next from cards that I have of guys that are currently participating in Major League Spring Training. Yeah, feel free to drop some comments down below who you want to see next in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends for a bunch of new card prospect podcast things to come out. See you guys in the next video.